The Photoshop Beta has got some great filters. They're really useful. And in this one, I'm going to go through the Emboss, explain all the various features. And if you think it's the same as the other Emboss, it's not. So this is the Emboss filter in Parametric filters. Straight away, you can see the effect is not like the Emboss you get with standard Photoshop. Now this is in the beta version, so if you need it, you need to download it from the Creative Cloud. It's in the public beta, download it, and then just use it. It's great, got lots of great features, but this is the Emboss filter. Even this, you can see it's pretty weird, but what you can do, you can go here, you've got just some presets, you can add presets, you can of course use the presets it's got. Weirdly, only one, but it's also got properties. It's also got resolution, so you can boost it up to ultra. Obviously it's going to be slower. Now this document's fairly large, but this one is quite quick. What the first thing you got? Threshold. Now you'll notice randomize is actually completely, utterly disabled. The reason being, there's no randomization in this filter. There's no feature that uses randomization. So what you can do, you can move this up, threshold. Now you can see as you do that, you get this result. So if I push it all the way down, let's push it to 0, and you can see that effect. Now there's other effects as well, options. So they do vary, of course. So you can push this up, threshold, and as you do it, you get this lovely edge effect. You can push it up even more, and you can see this start to become very odd, the way it's done there. And push it there, and you'll get to 1. But also, you'll notice what's happened. It's put it in the middle. It means you can extend it, so you can edit this field, probably quicker than just dragging that slider up and down each time. And you can see the result there of 12. But it does have some uses pushing it further and further up when you modify other settings. But I just want to show you can change these values, push them far greater than that. So 0.4, let's just go with that initially. Then you can change the distance and you can see the result. Then you get this weird effect. You can push it down to 0 or 0, I should say, 0.21, 0.4. Now it is a pity there is no randomize for the settings, because that's one thing you can't really do. You can't sort of click on that and just change the settings. So you have to randomly, instead of randomly, you have to move them yourself manually. Now also another problem with these parametric filters is you can't store the result away in an action. So if you've got like 4 or 5 parametric filters you really like combined, unfortunately it doesn't record them in actions. Real annoying feature of that. You can see now as you push this up, and exactly the same as before, you can see what happens. It bounces back. So you can go here and you can say 3 this time. And sometimes the result might be something very different. It's very subtle, obviously in this case. But also you've got this option as well. I have to say this, I cannot see that much difference between the two. Very subtle if there is any difference. And you can see it does slight change, but I'm not certain why they've got this angle mode. Personally, I'd have preferred an angle feature so you could just drag it backwards and forwards. Would have seemed more obvious. But you can also increase the blur, so you can see that sort of effect. So it's an interesting blurring effect as well as supposedly Emboss, because say it's nothing really like the Emboss feature, normal Emboss feature. So you can see you've got that effect. And again, you can change these, change this, and you can result in a variety of different, let's push that back down again. This is the thing with a lot of these filters. They do seem to have suddenly blank spots where suddenly the result ends up being much the same as before the original image. So I'm going to go with this. But also what you can do with these things, which is really good, is you can apply them a couple of times, which is always useful. And you can see here in layers, let's just remove the history there, don't need that. With layers, you can see it's a parametric filter here, a smart filter. So as a smart filter, you can always just remove it. If you don't want it, you just click there. Now it's not gone, but you can just bring it back, just click there again. But you can also go here, as you hover over there, hold down the Alt or Option key, select that, and then just drag. You can see as you do that and release, it creates another parametric filter. Exactly the same setting as before, but the effect obviously creates a slight variation in the image there. But you can modify them independently. So you can double click here and you can see there, if you've got, obviously got the properties already there, you can see it there. You can then move this threshold and it's independent. And again, you might want to keep it below 1, seems to lose the effect completely. And you get that sort of very, lovely blurring, smeary effect there. And again, you can modify the distance and modify these other settings such as blur, move that down maybe go push it up even more extreme, possibly blur it down like that. But also what you can do is you can blend between them. So you go over here, you've got, these are blending options. So you can just double click there, and you can see the result there. Great preview. But you can also go through and darken. You can see that sort of effect. Very unusual looking effect, that one. Multiply, and then go through colour burn, then linear burn, and so on. Creates a sort of, I don't know, very interesting sort of pencil sketched sort of unusual design. Breaking the. Of course, you can still modify these, and also you can use other ones, of course, but also you can go over here as well. You've still got the blending mode here, so it's not just this. So you could change the other one as well if you wanted as well. So darken, so you can see as you run through there. That creates some interesting combinations by doing that. Maybe not that one. Difference is probably the least interesting, I think. You can see you can create some interesting combinations just by going through the blend modes as well there. And exactly the same as before, you can go over here and again hold down the Alt Option key and drag and duplicate that design. And you can see that kind of effect. And again, go over here, blend mode, not linear burn, but go with color dodge or something else. Great. Another very unusual sort of yellow effect in Photoshop Beta. And that is a run through the parametric filters. Again, at any point, you decide, you know what, I don't want those. And you can just go back to that single one there and go up here to normal, and you've got that effect there. And at any point, double click there again, get this parametric properties, and you can modify the settings here, the distance, the blur. Unfortunately, and I will point this out, in this current release of the beta, for some weird reason, the transform does not work. Does not work on my machine anyway. If you just go over here, change the scale. Before, this would have zoomed it up, made it scaled up a bit, made it a lot bigger. Or you would have pushed it down this, and this would have created some very unusual imagery as well. But this time, it doesn't do anything. And likewise, the repeat and repeat here, nothing. Not certain why, but this is a beta, and you've got to accept that some of the features, for some weird reason, occasionally go slightly odd. But this can be used to create all kinds of unique effects. And of course, once you've done this, you can always go to Layer and Flatten Image, go to Image, Auto Tone, and you can see you've got that kind of effect. And again, exactly the same as before, Parametric Filter, you can then go to Emboss and apply again and add another effect to that. And you can see literally all kinds of very unusual embossing effects can be achieved using this approach.